Greetings, Fred Onosword, your realtor for life, and I'm coming to you today because I've got a ton of calls already. It's April, and we know what that means. We've got our tax appraisals in, and I've had tons of people calling me already about getting comps on their properties. And over the last couple of years, I've helped probably over 1,000 people get their appraisals done correctly, go to the tax office and get their values lowered. So I want to give you a little information on this video here. I'll give you my contact info at the end. But let me give you a few things to know about if you haven't done this before and to keep in mind so that this process will be much easier for you and you'll know exactly what to do kind of to go down there and have a good conversation with the folks at the tax office. First of all, you want to remember that the appraisals are based on last year's comparable sales. So all the sales in 2022, they're going to use that to compare against your property. Usually in the general area, especially if you're in the same subdivision or in the same part of the county, you're going to use those comparable sales to come up with your values if you go down there and talk. And that's where I come in. You'll contact me. I'll get your info. We'll try to find you some comparable sales, and hopefully you'll be able to go down there and get some relief. The condition of your property is a big deal. The condition of the properties around you, the condition of is your property easy to get to? Is it landlocked? Is there one easement? Is there a bunch of junk properties around you that bring yours down, so forth and so on? Again, that can help you get a little relief at the appraisal office, show them some stuff, and that should get you some relief. It's really important to remember, though, one thing is that the amount of increase that your property went up. If it went up last year, if you were appraised at $300,000, now it's $400,000. That amount of increase is not something you can argue with them or point out to them, hey, it went up $100,000. It shouldn't be that high. That's not the point you want to argue. It's important when it comes to market value and appraisal value, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But to go in there and say that, oh, it went up $100,000, it shouldn't be that high, that's not an argument you're going to be able to make, and it's not going to give you any relief. So just remember that. I know it's frustrating, but that doesn't come into play when we talk about getting comps and trying to get your stuff lowered. And remember, most of all, you can catch more flies with honey than you can vinegar. Look, those folks work for a living. I know it's frustrating, and they want to help you. If you give them the evidence, hopefully that I can give you and that you can get on your own, and give them some facts to help them lower your values, they'll do it for you if they can. I know it's frustrating. You go in there sometimes and you're hotter than a wet hen, but it doesn't help give them attitude because, remember, they're the ones that can help you at this level. And if you give them the evidence, they will help you. Trust me, I've been in there many a time, and they have helped you if they can. It's frustrating, but again, give them a good attitude. Let them help you with your information you give them, and you'll have a successful meeting over that. Just remember, if you don't achieve your goal at the appraisal level, if you're unable, it's called an informal hearing when you go talk, by the way. But if you're not able to get the goal you want there, you're going to go to the ARB, which is the Appraisal Review Board, and that's more of a formal process. Again, you'll have to go there and take some stuff, evidence I'll tell you about it in a minute. But so if you don't get it done at the informal level, then your next step will be to go to the Appraisal Review Board. If you go that route, you're going to need tons of evidence, just to let you know. You're going to need pictures. You're going to need comps from me or any other realtor you may know, but hopefully from me if I can help you. But you're going to have to give the Appraisal Review Board tons of evidence to overrule that appraiser because, again, they're using his expertise to come up with the value, and they're going to look at all the evidence and see if they can help you. The Appraisal Review Board has a lot of power. They can basically do what they want to if they want. But, again, they're going to have some evidence to overrule that appraiser and show where maybe he made a mistake or they used the wrong comps on their end. So, again, you need to have tons of evidence when you go to the Appraisal Review Board. So that'll kind of tell you the basic process when you go in there. Here's some technical stuff you might want to know, some nuts and bolts of the situation is be familiar with all the exemptions on your property. Did the appraisal office miss those? Do you have your homestead exemption? Are you allowed, do you have a disability exemption over 65? Ag exemptions? Make sure those exemptions are on your appraisal. Make sure they didn't miss them or do a typo or something like that. And that's usually an easy fix to go through. The second thing is, if you're going to go down there and have an informal hearing, take a picture of every defect in your home. I always tell people the things you don't want your friends and neighbors to see when they come over, you may hide. you want the appraisal office to see all that. Take a picture of every crack in the wall. If you have some cracks in your foundation, if your driveway has cracks in it, if the fascia board is rotten, if the brick's coming off here, if it's not perfect, if the paint is peeling, take pictures of all those defects, because again, you're trying to show them, hey, my property isn't like this property right next to me. It takes good care of their place. I have a few things. I'm not at that high value. I need a little help because mine isn't exactly pristine or perfect. So you've got to show some defects and give them some evidence to try to help you get your appraisal lowered if the comps don't do it by themselves. Another big thing is when you go in there, ask the appraisal office to show you the evidence they used, the homes they used, the comps they used to come up with the value for your home. You're going to want to know that. You're going to see that, and maybe that'll open your eyes to some things, or maybe you can say, hey, wait a minute, I'm not even in that subdivision, or that's 25 miles away from me, or my house isn't 4,000 square feet, it's 1,500 square feet. Again, that information can help you a lot, and you'll want to have that if you have to go to the ARB, because you'll be able to show, look, they used basically the wrong comps to come up with my value, and hopefully if I've given you some comps, then that'll solve the problem right then and there. You won't have to go any further. But make sure you take notes of everything the appraiser tells you as well. Get that evidence. So if you have to go to the ARB, you can say, look, here's what the guy told me. Here's what the lady told me. Here's what they used. Here's why I think they made a mistake. Just to let you know also from a technical perspective, if you have outbuildings on your place, if you've got barns or you've got sheds or you have hay barns or shops, right now the appraisal office has based their appraisals on what it would cost to get those materials today to build those deals, to build those buildings. They're using, because everything has gone up, the materials needed to build those buildings have gone up, so they're using those type of values. So if your building's been there a while, 10, 15, 25 years, it's an old hay barn or a shop, make sure you let them know that so you can get the proper depreciation, and then they'll adjust that value down as well. Also, make sure your outbuildings are classified correctly. Make sure if it's a portable shed, they don't think it's a shed on a cement foundation. Make sure they know that it has a dirt floor, not a cement floor. Make sure your slab isn't defined as something else. There's all kind of little things like that that'll help you as well with your values. So just keep that in mind right now in your outbuildings. If you bought your property last year, this is an easy fix. If you bought your property last year for $400,000 and they have it appraised at $500,000, take your closing documents, show them to the appraiser. That should be an easy fix for you because, like I said, it's based on last year's sales. So that should be a no-brainer. It should be an easy fix for you to get done. So those type of things, in a real brief top-level conversation I'm having with you, those little things will help you get the basics done to find the glaring mistakes or the easy mistakes to fix. Those are real easy. And to be honest with you, about 95% of the people that I've sent over there in the last 2 years, they've gotten some relief. They've gotten their appraisals corrected, and they've had a happy ending to their story. So again, it's real easy. The appraisal office, like I said, they do tons of properties. A lot of times they just need the information to correct the mistakes they've made, and you'll be out the door in lickety split, no problem. Remember, the appraisers, they really want to solve the problem at that informal hearing. It's a lot easier to take your information, your evidence, and give you some relief than have you go before the ARB, and they've got to take time off, and they've got to go to those meetings, and they have to get all their ducks in a row and things like that. So if it's possible, they're going to want to help you at that informal hearing, and it's going to be a great ending for you as well. So give them all the information, and I tell everybody, like I said, leave your attitude at the door. You catch more flies with honey than vinegar. Those people are just trying to do their job. I know it's frustrating for you. It's a frustrating situation. You're looking at how could they make this mistake? But look, things happen. Machines make mistakes. Numbers get put in a formula, an algorithm. So all those type of things happen. But they're going to be the ones that can help you. So don't take it out on them. Give them a lot of help with evidence, and they'll be able to solve your problem for you. In fact, I'll be honest with you, I did mine today. I called on Monday. I had an older barn that was kind of appraised a little high. I did it over the phone, gave them the years of it. They're familiar with my property because I'd talked to them years past. But they were able to solve it over the phone, and we solved it. It was a 10-minute conversation, real pleasant. So again, they're willing to help you if you give them the evidence. From a real estate market perspective, from a realtor perspective, just let me let you in on a few things. Property values here in Wilson County are not falling off the cliff. Prices are not falling precipitously. Things aren't falling off the edge of the cliff. People aren't overpaying as much or at all right now. They're not giving you $10,000 or $20,000 over your asking price like the fever was here a year and a half, 2 years ago, but they're not falling off either. So you may get some relief on some comparable sales. You may not, but the market is still somewhat, I guess, steady is the best way to put it. And I always point this out to clients and folks that I help that this is a worst case scenario, obviously. But if you feel that you just can't get any relief and the relief you've gotten is basically price you out of your home, unfortunately, if you're looking to sell, let's talk about it. Let's make sure that's really the route you want to go. Let's not make a rash decision. If you need to sell, I'll be glad to help you. Again, if your home is valued that much and you just can't afford the taxes, then maybe you should try to get some equity out of it if you have that there. But don't make any rash decisions. Give me a call. Let's talk about it. Let's see if we can solve your appraisal problem first and try to get you some relief. But if you need that other type of relief, I'm here for you, and I'll give you my contact info here in a minute on the other side of it. So if you need comps for your property, email me at fred@dwell-re.com. That's fred at DWELL-RE.com. Email me your name, your phone number, your address, and if you can, give me the property ID as well so I can make sure I get the right property. I'll pull up your info. I'll try to get some comps. We'll talk about it, and hopefully I can give you the help that you need. Now, to be honest with you, I had a couple of people already. We've done a few, and their values went up, and we did some comps on them, and in the subdivision they live in, property sold last year for $250, $265 a square foot, $235 a square foot. They were appraised at $216 a square foot, so they just had to stay pat. They couldn't do anything about it. And of course, I told them about the other things to their houses, but they had a nice house. It was appraised at $539,000, and it was a nice home. So unfortunately, they're not going to get any relief on comp sales. They just have a nice home, and the houses around them are nice, and that's what they were selling for last year. The good part about it, I told them, I said, well, at least you've got some equity. And if you decide to take advantage of it, give me a call. We'll sell. We'll get you out of there. But at least you have a peace of mind that whether it's the good news or not, or bad news, at least you have peace of mind that it was appraised correctly and your home is worth that right now. Things could change during this year. And I told this gentleman as well, I said, look, next year if you get your appraisal and it hasn't gone down and it stayed pat, call me anyway. Because maybe this year the real estate market has dove a little bit, and maybe that houses around you have sold for less per square foot, and we can get you some relief next year. So even though it doesn't change, you can still give me a call, and maybe we can give you some relief next year. Hopefully this year, but if not, I'm always here for you. Again, that's Fred Onoswords, your realtor for life. Email me at fred@dwell-re.com. You're free to give me a call as well, 210-787-0674. In case you're not familiar, you can kind of see it here on my patch. I also own the Acme Gold Buyers and Acme Guns and Gear here in Floresville, where Tractor Supply's at in the Floresville Plaza Shopping Center. You're welcome to come in the store and bring me your info there. We can talk about it there. And I'll be glad to help you. We're closed Sundays and Mondays. We're open Tuesday through Friday, 10 to about 5:30 or 6. Saturdays, 10 to about 12:30 or 1. Sometimes I'm out on a real estate deal, and there'll be a sign on the door. But feel free to call me first before you come. And if that's easier for you, we can sit here in the store and we can talk about it as well. So I just hope I've given you some information to help you this year. Like I said, in the last couple of years, I literally have done about 1,000 of these, and about 95% of the folks have gotten relief somehow, some way. 2 years ago, it was easy because the appraisal district was really off. Last year, they kind of got the homes better, but the properties were off. This year, they may have all their ducks in a row, and it may be a little more challenging. But again, anything you can do to lower that value is the important part. I'll be glad to help you. Again, if you need me, call me, email me, come by the store. I'm here for you. And I really hope we can get your tax bill down and get you a correct appraisal. That's the most important part. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. And I appreciate you watching. And we'll see you next time. Have a great day.